Marcus Thompson adjusted his navy blue uniform shirt one more time before clocking in at Sterling Corporate Tower. At 34, pride had become a luxury he couldn't afford. The janitorial job wasn't what he dreamed of when he was younger, but it paid the bills and kept food on the table for his 6-year-old daughter, Lucy. "Daddy, can I come to work with you again today?" Lucy had asked that morning, her dark eyes hopeful as she clutched her favorite stuffed elephant. "Just for a little while, sweetheart, until Mrs. Patterson can watch you," he'd promised. Now, as he pushed his cleaning cart down the marble hallway of the 20th floor, Lucy walked beside him in her pink dress, chattering about her drawings from school. She was his whole world, the reason he'd taken this job after losing his position at the manufacturing plant when the company downsized. "Mr. Marcus," Lucy giggled, trying to help him guide the mop across the gleaming floor. "I'm helping. You're the best helper I've ever had," he said softly, his heart swelling despite the exhaustion that seemed to live in his bones these days. From her corner office, Victoria Sterling watched the scene unfold through her glass walls. At 41, she had built her marketing firm from nothing, working 16-hour days and sacrificing everything for success. But something about the gentle way the janitor spoke to his little girl made her pause. She'd noticed him before. Marcus, according to his name tag, he worked quietly, efficiently, never asking for anything extra. But it was the way he carried himself with quiet dignity, even in his work clothes, that caught her attention. And now, seeing him with his daughter, something stirred in her chest that she hadn't felt in years. Victoria stepped out of her office, her red midi dress and heels clicking softly on the polished floor. "Hello there," she said gently to Lucy, who looked up with wide, curious eyes. "This is my daddy," Lucy announced proudly. "He makes everything clean and pretty." Marcus straightened, a flush creeping up his neck. "I'm sorry, Miss Sterling. I know children aren't supposed to be here." Mrs. Patterson was running late. "And it's perfectly fine," Victoria interrupted, surprised by the warmth in her own voice. "What's your name, sweetheart?" "Lucy Thompson." "I'm 6 3/4, the little girl said solemnly. "Daddy says I'm growing like a sunflower." Victoria found herself smiling genuinely for the first time in weeks. "That's a beautiful way to put it. Your daddy sounds very wise." Over the following weeks, Victoria found herself looking forward to the quiet hours when Marcus worked near her office. She'd catch glimpses of him carefully dusting her bookshelves, or notice how he always straightened the magazines in the waiting area just so. There was something about his careful attention to detail, his quiet respect for the space that spoke to her. One evening, working late as usual, Victoria heard soft voices in the hallway. Through her door, she saw Marcus kneeling beside Lucy, who was sitting on the floor looking upset. "I know you miss Mommy, baby girl," Marcus was saying softly. "I miss her too, but you know what she used to tell us? That love doesn't go away just because someone does. It stays right here." He touched Lucy's chest gently, forever and always. Victoria felt tears prick her eyes. She'd heard through the office manager that Marcus was a widower, but seeing this tender moment between father and daughter touched something deep inside her that she'd carefully protected for years. The next morning, Victoria made a decision that surprised even herself. She approached Marcus as he was organizing his cleaning supplies. "Marcus, could I speak with you for a moment?" He looked up, clearly nervous. "Of course, Miss Sterling. Is everything all right? More than all right?" "I have a proposition. I've been watching how you work, and I'm impressed. You have an eye for detail. You're reliable." And she paused. "You clearly understand what it means to care about something. I'd like to offer you a position in our facilities management department. Better hours, better pay, and benefits that would include health insurance for Lucy. Marcus stared at her, speechless. Miss Sterling, I don't understand. Why would you? Because sometimes we recognize something in another person that reminds us of what matters most, she said quietly. You're a good man, Marcus Thompson, and Lucy is lucky to have you as her father. 6 months later, Marcus sat in his small but comfortable office reviewing maintenance schedules for the building. Through his window, he could see Victoria in her office across the hall, her blonde hair catching the afternoon light as she worked. What had started as professional respect had slowly bloomed into something deeper. She'd begun joining him and Lucy for lunch, sometimes listening with genuine interest as Lucy chattered about school and her drawings. Victoria had a way of asking questions that made Lucy feel important. Heard, Daddy, Lucy said, appearing in his doorway with a drawing in her hands. I made this for Miss Victoria. It's us at the park last weekend. Marcus smiled, looking at the crayon drawing of 3 stick figures under a rainbow. She'll love it, sweetheart. Daddy, do you think Miss Victoria could be like a mommy for me sometime? Marcus's breath caught. Why do you ask that, baby girl? Because she looks at you the way Mommy used to look at you in the pictures, and she looks at me like I'm special. That evening, as they were leaving the building together, Victoria walking beside them to the parking garage, Marcus found his courage. Victoria, would you and Lucy and I like to have dinner this weekend? A real dinner, not just sandwiches. In the break room, Victoria stopped walking and turned to face him, her blue eyes soft. I was wondering when you'd ask. Really, Marcus, you've reminded me what it feels like to care about something beyond quarterly reports and profit margins. You and Lucy, you've brought something back to life in me that I thought I'd lost forever. Lucy slipped her small hand into Victoria's. Does this mean you want to be part of our family? Victoria knelt down to Lucy's eye level, her voice gentle. I'd be honored to be part of your family if your daddy thinks that's a good idea. Marcus felt his throat tighten with emotion. I think it's the best idea anyone's ever had. 1 year later, Marcus stood in his new suit, watching Victoria in her elegant cream-colored dress as they exchanged vows in the small chapel downtown. Lucy stood beside them in her flower girl dress, beaming as she held their wedding rings. As he looked into Victoria's eyes, Marcus thought about the journey that had brought them here. Sometimes life's greatest gifts come disguised as ordinary moments. A job that pays the bills, a chance encounter in a hallway, a little girl's innocent question that opens hearts that were afraid to hope again. I love you, Victoria whispered as they shared their first kiss as husband and wife. I love you too, he whispered back, knowing that sometimes the most beautiful love stories begin not with grand gestures, but with the simple recognition of goodness in another person's art.